Okay, so here we are with Storm, putting together our first video update. And usually right off the bat, starting out a training session, I'll just warm up with a little manding. So I'm getting my treats all ready and my clicker ready. And as soon as she sits and gives me eye contact, I will click and reward. And so she is doing really well at this. She's getting a lot better at eye contact. In the beginning, it's just keeping all 4 feet on the ground, and then it's sitting, and then it's, sitting and looking at me in the face or looking at me in the eyes. So she's coming along really well with this, and I'm just moving around here just to demonstrate that then when I stop, she redirects back to me, gives me eye contact, and I have an opportunity to click and reward. So she knows the sound of the clicker means a reward is coming, and the clicker helps me communicate with her and essentially mark the behaviors very quickly. So as soon as I can, visually see she's doing something that I want, even if it's just a portion of, whatever movement or exercise I'm hoping to get out of her, I can click it, and she instantly knows by hearing that sound that a reward's coming. And over time, they just learn, to match that with time and consistency. They match that behavior with a reward, and that's how you start to get what you want. And the clicker is just a lot quicker than me hand delivering her a treat or even using a verbal target word. Some people like to use verbals, and I do that occasionally, but the clicker is very consistent. The sound doesn't change. It's very quick. And it doesn't really sound like anything else. We can vary too much in our voice, so it potentially can be confusing for the puppy. So what I'm showing now is I've just started working with her. This is maybe her third, maybe only her second session. I actually can't remember. But just teaching her, one, when I'm down on the ground like this, to not have her jump on me. She'll only get rewards if her feet are on the grass, not on me. But right here specifically, I am trying to teach her that when she sees my hand go up above her head, and I'm holding a little cookie there to try and there we go, lure her to the sit position. But when my hand scoops up above her head, that's going to be her signal to sit, just like that. And she's just starting to catch on. So eventually I won't have to use a lure and hold a treat in my hand. I'll just be able to give her the hand signal. But for right now, that holding that treat in my hand does help her kind of lure her around where I'd like her to go, for actually teaching her a command for sit. So what you saw earlier, the manding, yes, she was sitting, but there was no commands for that. That is just a behavior that I have reinforced with absolutely no luring and no verbal commands. Where this, well, now I'm rewarding her for holding a position, which she held that sit very well, if you noticed that. And now I'm luring her down to teach her how to down. And there I'm going to reward her because she held the down. So ideally, whenever I put the dog in a position or ask them to do something, my expectation, in the long run, she's still a puppy, so there's really no right or wrong, but I'd like her to hold whatever position I asked her to be in until I ask her to do something different. So, with how young she is, if she breaks position, I mean, there's no there's no correction to be made. I simply just ignore it and then, you know, just kind of move on to something else or reposition her back where I'd like her to be. Because her attention span, actually for this video, she did a really good job. But you know, this is a 9-week-old puppy. So attention spans are pretty short. You can't expect, you know, perfection by any means. And so just want to keep it really short and fun. And she's doing so well. She's super duper sweet. What a little sweetie pie. And her focus is actually really pretty good for this video. I was pretty excited when I started working her to see what she was giving me, that focus. But that kind of just gives you a basic idea on where she's at and kind of what I'm rewarding there for the sit and down. And now this is kind of the main thing we've been working on most of this week is target marking to this box. So essentially I have rewarded anytime she's offered to interact with this box, she gets a reward. So she's already figured out now. This video does a really good example. This is actually kind of the most solid she's been just yet, but that's also pretty typical to where we're at in training. You know, eventually with consistency it all starts to come together. She has figured out, as you can see, she knows if I stay in this box I get a cookie. And you notice I'm putting the cookie in the box, so that is going to, oh, she left the box, so I'm just ignoring her. And look, she decided, oh, that didn't get me anything, but what if I go back in the box? And yes, ma'am, you get a reward when you're in the box. So this is just like manding. There's no command. She just knows when she sees the box, that's an opportunity for her to get paid with a reward if she is in the box. So, you know, there's a bunch of steps that lead up to this. You know, we could go into extreme detail, but just as like an update video, my expectation of where she's at now, in order for her to get rewarded, she has to have all 4 feet in the box. What's cool now too, this is the first time, I tried doing this the last training session and she kind of struggled a little bit, but she's doing really well right now. You noticed I'm kind of moving around the box, and see how she's staying in there? So that's the beginning of our stay, believe it or not. Again, no command, but it's essentially giving her a very defined place to be. And she basically will get desensitized to me moving around, because like there, she chose to come out. She didn't get anything, but the second she went back in that box, she got a reward. So, and there I gave her the okay word to release her because I was really happy with everything she did. So I'm always trying to end the training session before the puppy gets too mentally fatigued. And you can see she's feeling pretty good. She's pretty spunky. But no, so I'm being able to start moving around the box a little bit. And that's pretty huge. She's making pretty quick progress with it. Yeah, so essentially I'm just going to continue to build off of that as we move on to, you know, self-loading in the crate and actually working on a stay. But that's kind of where it begins. I start off all my dogs just doing a target place like that, and then everything else, you know, at least in my experience with what I've done, it's you know, made the transition pretty easy. Now, because she had so much focus, I thought I'd just do this. This is her first session even attempting this. So this is something I teach all the puppies. We just haven't gotten to it yet until right now, but just teaching her to stand, and that if she stands with all 4 feet still on the ground, she will get a reward. So I've got some cookies in my hand, and it really works better with a nice soft cookie because she can kind of nibble a little, and then I can quickly take it away. And then there's probably, when I take it away, there's like a millisecond that she might be still, and I can click and reward that. And then, you know, give her the soft treat right back, and I can kind of squish it through my fingers. It works a little better. See how she's munching a lot with these, and I'm not able to hold as many. These are a little harder treats, but it still works, and you can kind of get the gist of what's going on here. But again, my criteria is that she just attempts to hold all 4 feet still on the ground while standing. And it literally is just like a second at a time in these first beginning training sessions, just so she understands the concept. So you can hear me clicking, and sometimes I don't even take the treat away. See how there I was able to take it away for just a second. See how she held it and she didn't move her feet? So that's their starting point right there. And eventually I would build duration over our training sessions and see if I can, teach her to hold it for longer and longer. So she doesn't quite, this is the very first time she's done this, which is kind of cool for you to see, because you notice when I take my hand away, she isn't really focused on my hand yet. Ideally, when she starts to get the hang of it, she'll start focusing on my hand, and I'd like her to look at my hand, just to kind of direct her gaze a little bit. But in these beginning sessions, she just doesn't really completely know. She's just following the cookie, and there she's got feet. Oh, now she's sitting, so I'm going to wait. Kind of trying to draw her back into a stand there. And as soon as she stood up, you noticed I clicked and treated. And again, she's not focusing on my hand, but she's not moving her feet. So I will click and reward that. So that's like a simple demonstration on shaping a behavior, because I am encouraging her with the treats, but there's no commands for it. She could go off and run around if she wanted to, but the beauty of having a food motivated puppy, it really helps you with your training, and that's what we're working on there. So we'll keep working on that. It's just a cool another little concept. You can see she's so spunky. It's pretty neat. You get these wild, well, she's not necessarily completely wild, but you get these like full of energy puppies, and it's pretty impressive when you can just put them down on the ground and they learn to focus on that hand, and they can just hold rock solid still. It's just pretty cool. And then you release them from it and they get to go run around and play. But here, look how, just for one session, look how quickly she's catching on to it. And she's actually focusing up a little more better this time too. But those feet haven't moved. So you can see it's probably not going to take too long with her for her to start to understand the concept. So when I work with her on this tomorrow, we're going to make even more progress from here. She's doing really good. Okay, so here we are with Storm. I'm going to show you where she's at with getting her nails trimmed with the Dremel. She's doing really well. This is something that I start with the puppies when they're very young, when they're, just probably around 3 weeks of age. Their nails are barely big enough that I can get the Dremel in there and start getting them familiar with the sensation of it. But even with that, all of that being done at an early age, you can tell Storm is letting me do this, but it's not her favorite thing in the world. She would rather, probably we do something else. But that's all the more reason why it's so important to spend these weekly sessions doing the nails. And if you're trimming them weekly, there's really not a whole lot to take off, and so it's kind of nice to just get in there quick and get it done. It only takes a few minutes. Just having them, have a positive experience from it. So I like to have the puppies in my lap like this, and yeah, we'll take little breaks and talk to each other and give kisses. But having the puppy in my lap kind of just helps me control them. I can kind of hold them up close to my body if they want to squirm or wiggle a little. But I mean, really, with puppies, unless there was some sort of extreme fear or something like that, I mean, you pretty much just get in there and just get the nails trimmed. It's just no big deal. And eventually the puppies catch on, to your emotions and kind of just your whole demeanor about the thing. And then they go, oh, maybe this isn't a big deal. And that's kind of where Storm's at now. I mean, she really, she's a really good puppy as far as she's, pretty accepting and kind of will go with the flow most of the time. And you can see that was really easy. But this is where we just need to continue this weekly with her. So that way when she does turn into an adult, it still goes just as easily as this. So that's just to show you where she's at with the Dremel. She's coming along really good.